Hello. Hi. Um, my name is Lenny, and this is the first time that I'm doing this, so this is equally exciting and a little intimidating for me. Um, I don't know where I'm gonna post this, so if you see it I know it's posted. Um, hello. We are going to do a little energy check for the collective for the incoming Gemini season. I was actually kind of thinking if I'm gonna do the energy check for the collective for Jupiter and Gemini, but then decided I'm gonna do a pick a card on it. Um, I don't know when it's coming. Um, Probably within the next couple of days. But for now, I'm gonna do an energy check for the collective. I have a little list here of what feels like the vibe of what we'll talk about today. The other one here is my notes for the future reading for Jupiter and Gemini. So, first of all, where is the collective energy at energetically? And what are the different manifestations possibly of the collective energy? And this is my way of saying how are people acting in this 3D reality? What are the different types of people that are acting, doing things in the world based on the collective energy? And then main collective themes, perhaps in relation to world issues that we are currently experiencing. Also in the first question, how does this affect our lives individually? How does the collective energy affect our lives individually? And then collective themes, how do we navigate the spirit as a collective, and maybe some predictions there. Again, I don't know how this is gonna go. This is the first time that I'm really doing a maybe an energy check of this, like this big. So I don't know how it's gonna go, but we're just gonna do our best. We're vibing. We're doing our best. This is the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Kranz. There, in case anyone watching is interested. Hopefully in the future I'll also have my own deck. I know me and a friend are have been kind of in and out of talking about it. Maybe there's something about creation, that's why I'm being led to talk about this. Gemini season. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the sign of communication, movement, travel, perhaps. One more. And then Gemini is the sign associated with the Lover's card in Tarot, which is all about alignment and also like duality and union. Two different sides of the same coin. There. Okay. We're gonna start with where is the collective at energetically. I'm just gonna ask that particular question. I'll do it here. Ooh, see, I was the Empress with creation. I'm gonna put it in the middle. Okay, so this is very interesting. So, first card that came out, I'm gonna accept these three cards. So, and then I saw my Labradorite. I'm gonna talk about this after. I'm gonna connect it. So with the Empress here, there is this main theme of creation, and it's interesting that the Empress is showing up because the Empress is also the number of the representative of the divine feminine in the tarot. And so I'm getting here, actually, even with strength, there seems to be this it looks like, based on this, there is this very strong or like the energy of the divine feminine reclaiming its place, its divine place in our world, is really coming in strong during Gemini season. That's very interesting to to kind of get. So the divine feminine, what is the divine feminine? It is chaos and creation, there is this it's like, you know, the divine feminine, you can call it as the divine mother as well, and there is this sense of creating something in a space that is void. So thinking about the baby in the womb, right? The womb is basically a space that is empty, that is void, and suddenly we all know biologically how it works, but there is suddenly this life that enters that void and is created within that void. Of course, we know that life cannot be created from non-life, but that life of the zygote, right? I'm forgetting my biology. But the life from the egg and sperm merging is nurtured and grown within that space, within that void space. And that's kind of what the feminine energy is really. It's creating something seemingly out within a space of nothing. Not seemingly out of nothing, but within a space of nothingness. In that space of nothingness, the feminine, the divine feminine, is able to fill it up and create something within it. And so that's why creation is coming up. Yes, that's why I'm explaining it, because creation is coming up, but also in a more general respect of just the divine feminine being able to stand up again and be able to reclaim its divine place in the world. We all know that both the masculine and the feminine energies are being very much attacked. Or maybe I just know it. I don't know if everyone knows. Well, I know that a lot of people know about it. I mean, when you see it in the world, right, we're being talked about, you know, obviously with the feminine being attacked, and it's quite blatant in the way that people want to exert power over women, over the feminine. There is a very blatant desire, like propaganda, I would say, to erase female spaces, erase the female voice. Regardless of what our opinions are about feminism, it did help put the female voice up there. But also at the same time, you know, there's a lot of that in the feminine, what's happening in an attack towards the feminine, and also just societal culture being in a way more blatantly skewed against females, women, the feminine energy in general. And then also there is this attack on masculinity. I'm gonna see this as that kind of like the Father of Pentacles, and also with strength, with regards to, you know, the term toxic masculinity, and these other things of you can like the blatant attack against protecting and providing and keeping I would say the family unit safe, which is primarily the job of the masculine, right? And so with these attacks here, we can see that the Empress is stepping up, the divine feminine, the people who mainly carry, or not, no, let me rephrase that, because everybody has masculine and feminine energies. The people who mainly operate there, the people who mainly operate in their divine feminine or in their feminine energy, it's gonna be more of a resurgence for that, and more of a creation of life that is based on what is naturally magnetic, what naturally flows, as opposed to following further what society is kind of dictating of you need to you know, work hard and struggle and shed blood, sweat and tears and all of that. And also with regards to Labradorite, I'm gonna talk about this now. This wasn't here before I started the reading, and then I kind of felt like wanting to put Labradorite here. And Labradorite is a stone for transformation, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a stone that encourages us to go through, or to invoke our transformations within ourselves. So their creation is a big um, energy of the collective right now, or within starting Gemini season, or it's strengthening within Gemini season. Strength, also a major arcana, so we have two major arcanas here, which is very much, for me, it's like it's fate, that this is happening, this is the case, because what is happening, it looks like, is that people are choosing very consciously and intentionally to listen and lead with their feminine energy, even though that is not what the collective no, that's not what society wants us to do. It doesn't want us to just create organically from our place of creativity. We also see that in people not really appreciating the arts, or I don't know, you've seen this, right, where in the thing where it's like, oh, you're a small business, but why are you charging that much for your work? I can buy it off of a big major chain, or like a like a big company for less. And it's like, that's also kind of well, you doing it as an individual, and it's like, you don't have 100,000 employees, so it's obvious that it's not gonna be sold for the same price. But then there's not that much appreciation for things that are made with our hands. So yeah. And also creating a life that you want regardless of what society says, and being successful at it financially as well. There may be people who are very much in tune with this energy of creation, and this energy of creating what is being led by the soul. We might see people being very successful in that, and being successful in selling that, being successful in perhaps more people being content creators, or making small businesses, and having a social media presence and being very successful in it as well. And of course, this is not just women per se, but it is it of course can be men as well. It's just being able to tap more into that natural urge of creativity, as opposed to just following whatever society says you should do. And it can be a balance of that. Now I'm reminded by people who, I don't know if you've seen this, because I get into that whole Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts whole a lot, and I see people like men who mow lawns for a living, but then they also make content out of it. That's kind of like what I'm seeing as a sort of like additional source of creativity. So you're not just of course you're doing something that you're very passionate about and you like, and that also is very much financially sustainable, lucrative endeavor, and then also you're putting a creative spin on it, right? So this is very interesting. I like it. I like this energy a lot. And with Gemini also being fast, I feel like a lot of people will want to create, will receive downloads very fast about things that they want to create, or how they want to insert creativity into something that they're already doing. And I feel like we can already see examples of this in popular media. People who flip things, flip furniture, they already do that, but then they also have a social media following, so it's like putting their own creativity further into it and things like that. Okay, so what kind of people are we seeing? Of course, we have the Queen of Wands. How many? 3. Okay. How many different manifestations? So what are the different manifestations of this collective energy that we are seeing? There's one more there. Okay, so many cards. Do we hindi na, let's not do that. Okay, just one. Okay, so this is very interesting. So it's very I want to say obvious, but it's very clear what kind of person each card represents within this collective energy of the divine feminine resurging, and also creativity and living life with a more creative side resurging, and having it also be very financially successful. There are people who are fully leaning into it with the Mother of Wands, the Queen of Wands. There are people who are fully in it, fully inspired, people who are receiving the downloads very fast, people who are connected with their inner Empress and inner strength, and just doing all of this, all of everything that we said, and helping directly as in directly with the collective energy, helping the collective directly manifest this energy and bring it to the collective, bring it to our earth. Secondly, with the Five of Wands, people who are very much anti this. And this can be, I'm not saying that these are people who are necessarily like, don't be creative. I'm thinking of the abuela in Coco, who's like, no music, no music. Not that, there may be people like that, specifically people who kind of view the world with a more realistic sense. But there's also people who are like, oh, people who, when they see someone doing what do you call this, who are really trying to have this kind of maybe small business or creative endeavor, or perhaps even a spiritual endeavor. The divine feminine is also directly very spiritual, so it can be with spiritual entrepreneurs as well, or even just creative entrepreneurs and things like that, small businesses. It can be like, are you sure that's gonna work? Are you sure you're gonna be able to do that? Maybe you should just keep that as a little hobby and find a 9 to 5. These people who are unintentionally, although giving people benefit of the doubt, this can come from a very from a place of compassion and a place of care for the people that they are talking to. Perhaps they can't see, if we do that it is kind of contributing in a way as a sort of counter to this energy, to this resurgence of energy, because it's very much, I'm not saying that it's wrong to like look out for your loved ones and remind them that, hey, there's still bills to be paid and things like that. It's not wrong to remind people of that, but to be directly like, are you sure you want to do that? Maybe you should keep that as a hobby and just look for a 9 to 5. Or why are you putting so much effort in that social media thing? You're not gonna, there are so many big people on social media now, you're not gonna be able to make a dent. These people who are even unintentionally standing against you in a way, that's also showing up as part of the manifestation of this energy, because this is huge. This is a big deal from us being kind of programmed and conditioned and trained to be employees, trained to be workers, trained to just keep the system running, suddenly we have these people. Of course, it's been happening for the past couple of years, but now more people are choosing to leave the system per se, and create their own things and be successful about it. There are people, it's not gonna rub everybody in the best and right ways. There are people who are gonna be like, oh, there's something wrong with this. What's wrong with this, right? Why are people not wanting to keep the system running? There. And then there are people who aren't here, represented by death. People who are going through a very, very significant time in their lives, wherein they are transforming perhaps from this into this, or perhaps they always knew that they wanted to do something creative but were sucked into the system, and now they're going through this process of connecting more into this energy. Perhaps people who are what do you call this? People who are very much inspired by creators, by creatives, who are now very much present online and doing the things that they want to do, doing the things they love. These people are being inspired by that and are kind of going through sort of like an existential crisis, but in the best ways. And we're just seeing how perhaps in the next couple of years, these people will be doing their own thing in social media as well, and being very successful at it. Or even not in social media, but like just doing their own, following their hearts and following their souls nudges, and having viable careers, doing something that they love and doing it in a way that is in alignment with their soul. So again, it doesn't have to just be creative endeavors. It can be like what I said about the guys who mow lawns, and they make a living out of that, but then they also put a creative spin on it by filming it and editing those videos and showing it on social media, and then also getting more financial stability and from that, right? Okay, there, I'm gonna, because there's one more question directly related to this. So how does this affect our lives individually? Right. I can now see there are 2 spots left here, so I'm gonna put 2 cards there. Okay, 2 cards. Oh, we have the lovers. We have the lovers. So, okay. And we have the 4 of Cups here. So how is this affecting our lives as individuals? So, first of all, it is kind of nudging us to look deeper within ourselves for a deeper alignment. The lovers, like I said, is all about alignment with, yes, the divine, and also alignment with yourself, your higher self, your soul. I'm doing this motion from my heart chakra upwards. So it's alignment. It's like your mind, body, and spirit are all aligned in this in this endeavor, in these next steps. So if you're being kind of triggered in some kind of way by people being more creative, or stepping more into their creative energy, or perhaps even stepping more into their feminine energy, then it might lead you to think about, well, I don't know, but also, why am I being so affected by this? What is within me that is speaking to this? It's like, why does this feel like this is speaking my language, but I'm also very much triggered by it, or I'm very much feeling some type of way about it. Perhaps there is this issue of alignment that can be solved by looking within. And how is this affecting us individually as well? It's also allowing us to think about our priorities. And priorities not just in terms of, because yes, the bills have to be paid. It's important that we also have a financially, sustainable life, but then at the same time, um, what about the soul's priorities? Since we're now looking into alignment from a deeper level, now it's like, what are my priorities in relation to this deeper level of alignment, in this deeper level of I also desire to create things and to lead with my creativity, lead with my feminine energy as well. Perhaps to not be super stressed and burnt out anymore, you know. So like looking at priorities from that stance is gonna be important as well. So anything more? There's also here, in terms of the Four of Cups, there's this what do you call this? There's this perhaps nudge to let go of certain priorities that are entirely veering us away from our alignment. So perhaps there's this one thing that you're doing, or one thing you're committed to, that you know is draining you of your energy, draining you of your creativity. And it's like, even though you want to be creative because you're doing this thing, or because you're committed to this thing, your creativity is essentially being sucked out of you. There is this feel that is coming up, and so it's a choice point of whether you want to keep this commitment, continue doing this commitment or not. Yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna put these aside. I'm gonna keep these because these are our main the main thing. Main collective themes, other collective themes, especially in relation to world issues. Let's see what else is happening. I knew this card was coming up. Wait, this is a lot. This is a lot. Just how many more? 2 to 3 more there. Okay. I knew this card was coming up. So we have Justice here, and okay, I feel like I'm gonna word vomit. I have so much to say about it. As we can see in relation to a lot of world issues, you know, there's so many things in the world happening right now. The universal scales of justice is very much skewed. Very much skewed. And here's the thing, I'm being shown that, right, I'm being shown this. Let me try to illustrate it for you. So the scales of balance we usually know are like this, right? So it's like two, like there's one side and then there's the other side, and then it will teeter-totter like that. I'm gonna do an infinity sign there. There's gonna teeter-totter to one side or to the other. But what I'm being shown here, so there's this one like balance, like the base, and then I'm being shown something like this, and then these are, at the end of all of these, are all different, what do you call this, like the plates, like this one. So so what I'm getting here is that it's not just two sides, it's not just right or wrong, it's not either one side is right or one side is wrong. I'm getting the whole truth is very much multifaceted. And in terms of major world issues right now, we can't just look at it as in terms of one side is right, one side is wrong. One side is completely right, one side is completely wrong. One side is a side that we need to protect no matter what, and then one side is we need to eliminate this other side no matter what. The truth of the matter is that this right side has different facets to it that are important to look at, because some of the facets might be right or might be in alignment, in resonance with universal justice, but some of it might be wrong. And the same here with regards to the side that we are kind of deeming immediately as wrong. Even if you say that, yeah, they're doing this, this, and this wrong, but then there is still a part of this side that is in alignment with universal justice, and that is in you know, keeping the scales of balance, keeping the scales balanced. And so now the first thing that I'm seeing here, the first thing that I'm, you know, the first thing that I'm writing something, I know you can see it. The first thing that I'm being led to like say is like being able to understand, sir, first of all, what do the words mean? If we are saying something using certain words, what do they mean? And are they directly correct? Are using certain words correct in describing the current world issues? Right? Because it's like this. Why am I saying this? Because I feel like to fully lean into one side and unconditionally, unequivocally, am I saying that word right? I don't know. Like just unconditionally, without question, without doubt, siding towards one thing, with, you know, if the issue is only two sides, fully putting it in one thing and never criticizing this, never criticizing where you are, what side you're supporting, never criticizing it. I feel like that's gonna be pretty much an end of discussion that can lead towards all of these scales, all of the multiple scales being balanced and really achieving a solution that is just and that is in accordance with universal justice. So the moment we unconditionally, without question, without doubt, side towards one thing, like no matter what the general narrative of it is, the moment you just box yourself into I'm choosing to side with A, and that's it, done. No, you can't ask me any more questions. We can't have a discussion about this anymore because I'm siding with A no matter what, and B is the enemy. And then B, people who side with B would say, I am siding with B no matter what, A is the enemy. That's where we things get a little wonky, things get a little heated, and we can't see how these things play how certain things that are in both A and B play in keeping this universal scale of balance. You know, in what way is B skewing the universal scales of balance, but then also how is A skewing universal scales of balance? And in what ways can justice, true universal justice, be restored on A's front and on B's front? I can't believe I'm doing this whole diagram. So, first of all, it's important to look at what the words mean, the words that we're using. What do they mean? In what ways are we using them? Are we using the words and their meanings in the correct context? And then secondly, just being more, just looking at things with a finer tooth comb, and seeing things for what they are really, and perhaps even listening to the other side. I'm not saying perhaps, listening to the other side. If people who supported A listen to B, and it's just like, I'm not listening to you to refute you, but I'm also not listening to you because I agree with you. I'm just listening to you to listen to your side and be very critical about the things that I'm having an opinion on. And then B, the people who support B, would do the same. Just for like open discussion. We're not doing anything to attack. We're just doing to listen. I feel like we're gonna get closer to having sincere dialogues about looking at where certain sides are wrong and certain sides are right, and being able to create a more holistic, a more multifaceted, and a more complete solution. I may be talking, yes, there might be certain world issues that are coming to mind immediately, but it's not just with one or the other, it's with all, with a lot of it. I'm not saying all, with a lot of it. Because even here, even with, I'm just gonna use what I said as an example a while ago, even with the whole war on men and women, there's been a whole lot of dialogue about how women are undoubtedly, without a doubt, correct, and men are, without a doubt, completely wrong. And we see that that is not 100% the case. Yes, there are trends. Yes, there are ways, there are things that, women are right about in terms of what's happening, and men are wrong about. But then there's also ways in which women are not really correct about what's going on, and there are ways in which men are correct on the flip side. So what is important? Open dialogue between these two things, between these two parties. Open dialogue between men and women. And what is that gonna do? It's gonna be able to open up both sides, get us out of our box of these people are without a doubt right, these people are without a doubt wrong, and then see that, oh, okay, perhaps, there is a way that women are approaching things that are kind of, oh, but then there's also ways that men are approaching things that are kind of, oh. And then there are ways that men are approaching the situation that are, you know what, I can vibe with that. And then there are ways in which women are approaching things that are like, yeah, I'm vibing with that. So it's not just two sides, one is 100% right, one is 100% wrong. There's different layers to it, there's different sides to it. The truth is multifaceted. There's a lot. The truth is multifaceted, and the more that we have have that intention to really see the different facets of truth and look at the truth from different vantage points, the more that we're gonna be able to what do you call this, the more that we're gonna be able to see a more, complete um a more complete image of the truth. Because that whole this image thing of the cylinder, right? And then in this, you know in this area it looks like a circle, and then here it's a rectangle, but then as a whole it's really a cylinder. It's that kind of thing. The more that or that whole thing about the elephant being drawn by, is it an elephant? I think it is an elephant. I'm not gonna draw an elephant here because I can't draw an elephant, but like, okay, fine, I'll try. So like, elephant, yay. And then there's a little tail. So an elephant being drawn from different points of view, and it's different, like different photos, different drawings. These people end up with different drawings, but it's because they're just looking at one vantage point. But then when you put those drawings together, you'll be able to see an entire elephant, because that's what it is. I'm gonna draw there, because I feel like that's what I'm getting with justice, is that yes, perhaps when you look at it as it is in front of you, there is a clear right and a clear wrong. However, when you look at it deeper, if you really want to solve the issue and take everything out from a root level and be able to really heal this issue completely, it is important that we look at the different vantage points, we look at the different sides. Because it's not just one person is doing everything right and one person is doing everything wrong, or one side or one half of the population is doing everything right and the other half of the population is doing it wrong. It's so many things. So that's what I'm getting with justice. So there. So the path to the universal scales of balance and the universal scales of justice to be restored into its level, balanced, harmonious state is by looking at things from a multifaceted level and being able to see the truth for what it is, looking at the entire elephant from different points of view rather than just the point of view that you are either seeing or being presented. Okay, so this is not just in one issue, this is in all issues. Perhaps a thought exercise that you can try to do when attempting to do this is to look at it's the whole AB thing, is to look at the other side of people, to look at the other opinions, the ones that you don't agree with, and then ask yourself, in what ways, if you're siding with A, in what ways is B right, is B correct, and in what ways is my opinion, A, is the side that I'm fighting for, which is A, wrong. And in the same respect, if you're like in B, in what ways is A correct, and in what ways is my side, B, wrong. And just being able to open us up with, you know what, it's probably not just black and white, because we're living in a whole lot of gray. Okay, so next is we have the Five of Cups here. So what is this? Oh, main collective themes. This is coming up as disappointment, That's the Five of Cups. It's crying over spilled milk. I feel like this is very much, and even here the Seven of Wands is very much in relation to this. Grieving what has been happening in the collective energy, or what we're seeing in the world, grieving what is happening there. And perhaps it is touching certain parts of ourselves in our lives individually that we have not grieved yet. I'm also seeing this for some reason as an accountability aspect. You know, being I'm here in main collective themes, sorry. So another collective theme is perhaps accountability with how what our as humans, what our role is as a collective, what our role is in allowing all of this to happen. Because we're all in this together. I'm not gonna sing the song, but we're all in this together. And perhaps in what ways have we been unconsciously perpetuating or unconsciously even supporting the injustices that are happening in the world right now? Because yes, while I've talked about all of this, all of the whole ABs thing, the fact is that there are a lot of injustices in the world right now. And in what ways are we complicit to that? So it's not just pointing fingers outwards. It's also looking at yourself and how do you live in a way that perhaps continues to perpetuate the injustices. Because life being unfair is different from the injustices, okay? Because perhaps we can look at it as like, okay, life is unfair, and that means that we all have different starting points in life. But perhaps in what ways am I perpetuating this this kind of, I'm gonna say epidemic, pandemic of poverty, of poverty mindset perhaps? In what ways am I perpetuating this? So it's like on an energetic level as well, that yes, life is unfair, and we're all gonna start with different places, but in what ways am I perpetuating injustices that are happening? In what ways are we perpetuating people just constantly being taken, and people being milked for all their worth and then thrown away like nothing? Because that's an injustice. There. What else? I also like, yeah, aside from the accountability, there's also just this disappointment. Again, type of energy here where it's just seeing how things are so imbalanced and feeling disappointment in that. And perhaps feeling disappointment in terms of why is my life like this and then others' lives are like that? Why is my life looking good, but then there are people in other parts of the world, or people in my country even, who are experiencing really bad things? And then on the flip side also, why am I experiencing this, but there are other people in the world who are experiencing better, right? There's a kind of disappointment in that. And again, I just want to say, life being unfair, people starting from different places in life, that's part of life. But then, you know, there's also an aspect of injustice that we're perhaps, maybe we're just seeing one side or the other a bit more. There. Is there an example that I can... yeah. Oh, it's like I'm being led to like talk about, for example, generational wealth, because that's what I've been kind of setting up there. So generational wealth. For example, it's like having generational wealth is not inherently wrong, right? Having generational wealth is not wrong. People starting off from, for example, like, I know the Nepo babies have been a topic before, and I think they're also a topic right now. I feel like the Nepo babies are a topic. So it's not wrong for people to be born into wealth, for people to have this, we say it as a leg up in life, and for people to experience certain things that other people don't get to experience in life as a consequence of how in which family they were born into, or they were accepted into, right? So some people will be experiencing generational wealth, some people will be not experiencing that. There's nothing inherently wrong. Again, the unfairness of life is the unfairness of life. We're living in a reality where a main theme of our dimension is duality. So there are gonna be people who will be born into a more materially comfortable space, and there are people who will be born into materially uncomfortable spaces. Where does the injustice kind of get into that? It's when now, because of the inherent unfairness, which is, again, the unfairness of life is the unfairness of life, wherein that is being used to exploit, right? Where that unfairness is being used to exploit and to further cause a divide. Because we're all just people, but if there is this, there's this way of certain people blocking people who were born in not wealth, were born in poverty, or perhaps born maybe middle class, lower middle class. If there are systems that stop these people from growing, from being able to access certain points that other people get to access, right? Being born into wealth, upper middle class, lower middle class, poverty, that's their starting point. But the thing about this is that we all have an opportunity to up level in many ways. Now, if there are systems in place, legally or societally, if there are systems in place that prevent people from leveling up, prevent people from accumulating more wealth, then that's where the injustices are. And that's the thing that we need to kind of tackle in a way. That's what you want to look at. It's gonna be very easy to hate people who are born into wealth, but then at the same time, you know, there is something different at play. Because these people who are born into wealth, are not the ones who are actively, perhaps, you know, keeping everyone bogged down, tied down. There's other things in play. So there's this. 7 of Wands. So here is this, just this theme of with the 7 of Wands. So first of all, perhaps there are leaders coming up. There are people who will come up in leadership positions, or in positions wherein they will be amassing a certain following. You know, people who trust their light, people who trust their words. But then it's also this desire for further illumination, this desire for further, I guess all of this is all connected, right? A desire for further illumination, and being able to deliver that illumination to other people. Okay. So justice, being able to see the different facets of justice, and then working through disappointments. Oh my god, I'm so happy this was closed. What do you call this? Yeah, working through disappointments and working through, you know, unfairness versus injustice. And then constantly, there's a constant drive and a constant motivation to be illuminated and share that illumination with others. Okay. How do we navigate this period as a collective? How do we navigate this Gemini season as a collective? There. The Emperor and the Daughter of Pentacles. I'm gonna be, yeah. With the Emperor, there is this, so how do we navigate this period as a collective? By being in full control of your thoughts, your words, and your actions, and leading your life. Leading your life as an example of how things can get better for everyone else. If you are in a position in which you're able to create a life for yourself, a beautiful life for yourself, that is, you know, led by creation and by this strength of not doing things as society tells us, and then making a good financial growth out of it, then do it. Be the example. And start with, it's like the case of, if you want to help everyone else, you start by helping yourself, because you are part of everyone else. And then with the Daughter of Pentacles, this is starting to play by the financial rules here, and starting to be more, in a way, conducive to being a good player, in the financial realm. So it's more of a spiritual, energetic leading, but then also a material financial willingness to put the financial systems in place so that you are safe. You are safe from anything else happening. You get yourself out of being just thrown into whatever society, the elite, the matrix, wants to throw you into, and you start to have this safety and this security of I don't need to be a worker per se. I don't need to be one of the screws. I can be one of the screws in the collective, but not in society. And here with the Father of Pentacles, so this is the Page of Pentacles. So the Page, and then this is the King. The Father is the King. So in order to get from a place of being the King, in order to be the King of Pentacles and have this huge mastery of the material world, of your financial wealth, material wealth, you start building it from the beginning. And so I'm not a financial expert, but it can start with your savings, and maybe perhaps you would want to work with a financial expert on this, having a savings, the emergency fund, things like that. If you don't have that, then this is a very good time to start that. Okay. And then some predictions. I feel like this is going to be the fun part. I'm going to put this aside now. So, okay. So, before I get to the predictions, I just want to... so, the main energy of our collective is really leaning more into the feminine, into the divine feminine, and leaning more into creativity, regardless of what society seems to be saying to us. And so having that kind of like creativity-led life, feminine-led life, there is this opportunity for growth and of success, financial success, material success as well. And then some people are gonna be all in on it with the Mother of Wands. Some people are gonna be fully in and going full in on this. Some people will be consciously or subconsciously against this, which could help further the people who are all in. And then it can also help the other kind of people which are going through this death process of this proverbial death proverbial death of perhaps an existential crisis, and realizing that they do want to have this creativity-led feminine-led life. Where am I going next? This affects us in realizing this whole dynamic helps us in realizing where we are misaligned and where we want to be more aligned. And in this realizing of our alignment, of where our alignment is, also looking into more of our priorities, what we want to prioritize moving forward in order to be more aligned to this life that we want to live, which is more feminine-led, more feminine energy-led, and more creativity-led. And then some things we are seeing as a collective is justice, being able to see things from a multifaceted perspective. It's not just one side is wrong, period, one side is right, period. Diving deep into all of the nuances and all of the different sides, and seeing where the correct side may be wrong and seeing where the wrong side may be correct. Also looking at our contributions, our personal contributions to what is happening in the collective, and also seeing how in a way we are perpetuating that, but then also the difference between unfairness and injustice. and then at the same time being continuously open to being illuminated and guiding others into more illumination with that more multifaceted view of the truth. And we navigate all of this by leading yourself first and foremost, and putting the material financial systems in place that can help you lead yourself further. So that is the TLDR version of all of this. I'm gonna go into predictions now. It's been over an hour. It's interesting. So some predictions for Gemini season. Maybe fun, maybe I don't know. So some predictions. I'm gonna get, so there's one now. 2 more cards. Ooh, okay. One more. There. Okay. Oh, this is in the reverse. Okay, I'm gonna start here because it wanted to show itself. 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords, it came out in the reverse. I'm getting the phrase beating a dead horse. And so something that may be happening, whether in an individual level or more of a general societal collective level, there might be certain issues that are being rehashed that are, for some it's already a done deal. That's why beating up a dead horse is coming up. For some it's like, this is a done deal, this is already established, why are we talking about this? But perhaps either beating up a dead horse, there are people who can't let go and want to continue continue the discussions in order to get their voice to be heard. Or B, it's because opening this up is important in order to have more clarity on the situation. There. And I don't know why I'm saying this, but there may be a realization that things that have been established recently, as this is the truth recently, are going to be called into question once again. And for better or worse, there is going to be clarity that's going to happen here. Speaking of clarity, yeah, we already saw this. We have the Ace of Swords as another prediction point. Clarity, of course, with the Ace of Swords. And then there's also this there's this significant nugget of truth that can enter the consciousness, like just like a bolt of lightning, like suddenly boom, that nugget of truth is now within your consciousness. And then it helps to really navigate certain situations, whether it is on a personal level, in a personal life level, or in a societal world issues related level. Perhaps this is gonna help in that justice bit that we saw, that not everything is as black and white as it seems. In a world that is forcing us to look at things in a black or white, in a black, what did I say? In a world that is forcing us to see things as either just black or just white, perhaps the greatest gift that we can contribute is to be able to swim in the gray. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. I love it. I love that this was the first card that came out, but then I did it in reverse. So the Nine of Pentacles. People, first of all, the Nine of Pentacles represents gratitude. So there might be a sudden movement coming up of leading with gratitude, of people, or perhaps you want to start this within yourself. So I know I want to lead with more gratitude in the everyday, starting the day with gratitude. Thank you for this day. Thank you for all of the wonderful things I am experiencing right now. Being able to lead with that, and just, in a world where we're all just deeply unsatisfied with our lives, being grateful for our lives in general, is it looks to be like a really huge gift. And then secondly, aside from that, aside from being able to see and have more gratitude in life, I'm also seeing people who deserve to win finally win. There are people who are, perhaps they're doing all of the best things, they're doing all of the good things, they're working so hard, and then there are people who are rooting for them and rooting for them, and then finally they experience this certain level of success and recognition and abundance, and then people are like, yes, that person deserves it more than anyone else. And I am excited for that person. And if that's you, I'm excited for you. I guess we're done now. I think that's all of what we have for today for our little collective energy check for this Gemini season. How was it? I'm curious. I promise I'm gonna upload this. But I'm very curious how this was. Please do let me know. Because again, this is the first time that I'm doing this. It's the first time that I've done an energy check for the collective 11313 I just saw. So I'm very curious, what do you think? How did you receive the messages? Was it too long? Perhaps. I think it's over an hour. I think it is too long, but yeah, let me know. And I'm gonna try to do this again for next season, for Cancer season. I'm gonna do this definitely. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I'm excited for all of us to experience Gemini season and experience that collective energy of divine feminine led and creativity led living. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts. How did you receive this? Any thoughts and opinions you have on how to improve this? I would be very happy to receive those. Please, and with your kindness. I accept, I'm open to opinions, to improving, but what I'm not open to is rude people. There's a difference. Okay? So there, so yeah, I'm open to your feedback. I'm open to your feedback. Let me know. And yes, I will do this again next time, I promise. Bye bye.